The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
No! I'm going down to Alphabet Street. I'm gonna crown this girl that I meet. I'm gonna talk so.
Good evening, everybody. It is once again time for the F word. This is Kathy. It is Tuesday, and I can't even believe I'm already saying this. October 2nd. I already miss summer because here's an F word for you. Fall. Minnesota hit fall like it fell off a cliff. It was 91 degrees one day and 41 degrees the next. Let's see. Today was in the 40s. Tomorrow it's going to be 80. I think that'll be the Indian summer, and then that's it. All downhill from here, or uphill, depending on whether you like to ski, because we'll probably have a lot of snow. And you're going to go uphill and then go downhill. But anyway, it's been a fun-filled week. I actually had a football-free weekend. My Vikings kind of let me down last Sunday and last Thursday, and I just decided, well, since they're not playing, I'm just going to take the weekend off. Of course, I watched Monday Night Football, but can't go that long without it. But I got to tell you, I kind of enjoyed it. It was, there were no F words flying around with bad play. Anyway, I'm really excited tonight because I've got some really special guests who I consider my friends. And we're going to look at tonight as kind of I'm going to call it fellowship. I was just thinking about that because, you know, whenever you get to sit down and talk with good friends, I mean, I would rather be doing it across the table from them. But, you know, luckily with technology being what it is, we're able to actually feel like we're right next to each other. But Renee Parris, James Hamilton, welcome to the F word.
Thank you. Thanks for having us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. I'm so excited to have you here. And I mean, I just feel really blessed to know both of you and knowing the things that, you know, we're looking to accomplish and everything. But the listeners don't know you yet. What I want to do is just kind of start out. James, I'm going to start with you. So I want to hear a little bit about your background, where you grew up. You know, just kind of what's your story?
I guess everybody has one, right?
That's right.
I don't think it's nothing interesting. Just grew up in a small town, Texas County, Arkansas, Texas County, Texas. You know, doing what every kid does, and just happened to develop a concept called dreaming early in life, and just dream to be in a better place, you know, growing up in the environment that we grew up in.
Did you have a big family?
No, actually, I don't think it was big. It just depends on what you call big, right? It's relevant. One sister, one brother. To me, that's kind of small.
Yeah.
In those days. Especially when most of my friends had, you know, 4, 5, 6 brothers and sisters, so it was a little different.
Right.
Growing up small town boy, you know, just dreaming to one day be something, be somebody.
You are. So, what were you dreaming of when you were a small town boy?
Well, certain events, I think events transform people's lives, right? So, circumstances, what other things happen to you? And I think for me, there were several events that forced me to say, hey, there has to be a better way, right? And so for me, it was all about being in a better financial position, a better success model.
Okay.
We didn't see a whole lot of success models growing up in the neighborhood we grew up. Or so rephrase that. There was success models, but none I care to be like. Orange jumpsuit was kind of their future, which I didn't have a future plan to put an orange jumpsuit on, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that college. Yep. That's okay. Okay. So what was your first choice? What did you do to get towards your future?
Well, one of the first things that I do, and the same thing I tell people today, you got to escape, right?
Right.
So college wasn't an option because my parents wasn't together, nor were they financially able to send me off to college. And at that time in life, nobody thought about scholarships for sure, right? And so the escape model I used was the United States military. I said, well,
thank you for that.
Yeah.
You chose to do it.
Yeah, I chose to do it. In fact, I chose to do it early, right? I didn't graduate high school and say I'm going into the military. I decided 7th, 8th grade, okay, this is the way out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the way out of this environment and to possibly better opportunity. And that was the route for me.
Did you get to see the world?
Actually, yeah, I did. I tell people all the time, sometimes when you're doing a thing, you don't appreciate it as much.
Mm-hmm.
Now I look back, I realize, as I show my daughter all the places I've been in the United States, like in the country, in the world, I said, man, I should have took better advantage of it, right? But I didn't, just kid from the hood, just trying to make it, right? So, but I did see the world. I definitely saw the world.
What branch?
United States Army.
My goodness, thank you. So what was your MOS?
11 Bravo. I hate to say that out loud, but I was a grunt for almost 10 years.
Wow. No, you know what? As the daughter of military parents, I mean, both my parents served. My dad was a command sergeant major at the end after, I want to say, 38 years. My mom served 32 years. She was a first sergeant. So I grew up with them. I still didn't listen. But, and then married military man. And then my baby is in the Army National Guard. He's a Cav Scout. So it's like, you couldn't choose librarian, huh? You got to choose a Cav Scout. Thank you. But
for real.
it's special people that, because it is volunteer. So, I mean, when you think of, like something I talk about a lot is football. I mean, it's less than 1% of our population that make it into the NFL. Well, it's less than 1% of the population that join the service, too. And I think people take that for granted. I mean, you take it for granted when you get to go see the world, but people take for granted what freedom is really all about. And it's guys like you making the sacrifices and the families that are sitting back at home. And I'm always going to jump on that little soapbox because I feel really strongly about it and feel really protective over our vets. So thank you again.
No problem. I also say, people say, would you do it all over again? I say, yeah, I probably would. Probably would do it different, but I would definitely do
Right,
it.
right. So where was your favorite place you were stationed?
Believe it or not, probably, Germany was fun. Panama was okay, but I would literally say probably Fort Campbell, Kentucky probably was the best news station that I had. I mean, that's probably where I had the most fun at was at Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
Wow. I love Kentucky. And I'm going to have somebody to talk to about Kentucky here in a little bit. So you got out of the military and, okay, so 10 years, that's a long time. You're young, you're in your 20s still. Now what? Family?
Yeah, married. 2 boys and a daughter.
2 boys and a daughter.
And just, the military kind of gave me an outlet to be able to do my entrepreneur side. It kind of gave me the discipline necessary. It kind of gave me the mindset necessary to move forward in that arena.
Okay.
The military kind of crafted me in a way to where I'm at now. There's no other discipline, like in my opinion. If you're an undisciplined individual and you go into the United States military and you come out undisciplined, then that's something terribly wrong. Right. But generally speaking, most guys over time become very disciplined, and they learn that art of discipline. And then, so that art kind of transformed me and kind of stabilized me in business, kind of stabilized me in life.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So you got out your entrepreneurism. I cannot say that word ever. Entrepreneurial. There we go. Um, Renee. So what was your first venture? I mean, what were you looking to do?
First thing I did was door-to-door sales.
What did you sell? I love it.
Computers.
Okay.
Back in the days when they first came out, we used to sell 386 bus. We had financing along with it, which kind of also added to my journey, right? So it's not like sales. I mean, if you want to get your attitude right, you're going to sales, right? You're gonna get it right, or you're gonna get gone. And so door-to-door sales was the first thing I did, and then I got into multi-level marketing, right? The whole, like I think everybody did Amway, but sometimes you really don't know how the path that you're going down and how it kind of shaping you, right? And so a lot of people make money in Amway. I didn't really make any money, but it put me on the track of personal development, right? So it taught me the books to read. How to do thinking big, how to win friends and influence people, think and grow rich. So all of this material is now entered into a mind that comes from the environment that I came from. So now what's happening is I've changed my environment, which is not always the key to success, but it's a step. So when I was in the military doing these ventures, now I'm changing and formulating my mind.
Okay.
My mind is beginning to change. I'm beginning to think different. I'm beginning to reprogram how I was programmed by joining this little small multi-level marketing company, not having any success, but my mind is formulating because I'm reading the books, I'm listening to the tapes, I'm going to the events, and I'm in a different environment with people who have different mindset, and all of a sudden my mind is starting to form.
Right.
And so which is kind of the start of success, right? So and then I went into started my first carpet cleaning service.
Okay.
And so it just prolonged and just grew from there, opportunity after opportunity, business venture after business venture, to where I am today.
Carpet cleaning business. I have a friend that has one of those too, and he does quite well. So, I mean, I could use that right now. I have a little wiener dog. So little accidents every once in a while that I know that I call them on purposes because we go outside and come in and mark something. But
dog needs a different mindset.
He does, or the owner. I don't know. One of us. I did talk to a dog trainer once. I actually have a really good dog trainer friend, Toriano Sanzone, who used to be on the show with me quite regularly, and then he started traveling so much, but he would say, train the dog not to do it. I'm like, well, or he'd be like, well, train him not to bark. Okay, I got him a bark collar. No, that's not training him. Because you take the bark collar off, what's he going to do? Bark. I haven't figured that out yet. I got him a little diaper, but I guess that doesn't. I don't know. I'm lost. Need help. I'm to it because you potty train them. I never had any problem like that with any other dogs, but little wiener dogs, I guess, are naughty. But the mindset is definitely, keeps you, it sets you for life, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting when you think about it. There's been studies done. There was a study, I can't remember, I didn't know we was going to talk about this out of the research. There was a study done on prisoners. And how prisoners, and they did what they did, and they ended up where they ended up. But they did this study, and they found out accidentally that when they began to reform their vocabulary, when they began to teach them a deeper depth of vocabulary, it was directly linked to their behavior. And so they seen a reform in these prisons by reprogramming the information that these prisoners was putting in their head. So it's something to retraining the mind, reprogramming the mind, going in a different direction. Yeah,
that makes complete sense. Just if you say things differently, you're going to act differently. I would think. Wow. So from your businesses then, everything that you've got yourself to, how did you get to where you are today? Now, I know you met your partner, Renee, at one of these MLMs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, today is a different day. Business after business leads you to another business until you find where you're happy.
Right.
Forecast was a different model, kind of. It was actually somebody else's idea, right? And the goal was to go into partnership with this guy and create different divisions inside of this company. So on the back of somebody else's idea, that individual ended up quitting. I decided to move forward with this idea and continue on driving it the way it's going, because financial services is unique in itself. It's a powerful industry, and the opportunity was great. I saw a great opportunity in the financial services space, being that as an African American, you only represent 2-3% of the industry. So to me, that spells massive opportunity.
Right.
And so I decided to keep down this track. But to do anything great in life, it's going to take more than you, right? So I've already been down the track of doing business yourself and being in business by yourself. I wasn't interested in going that route again.
Right.
So I had to find somebody that can do not what I couldn't do, but what I didn't want to do. Find somebody who has a different skill set.
Yes.
That you can merge with. Say, okay, this person can handle these tasks that I'm not even interested in looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of how we end up going down that track, partnering up and merging. That's how Renee came to the table when we decided that, okay, just merge our skill sets and go build something great and help change people's lives.
That's no wonder I'm still single, you guys, because all the things that I don't want to do, men don't want to do either, like clean, cook. That one out. So, okay. So Renee Parris, enter you into James Hamilton's life. Where did you two meet?
We met through a multi-level marketing company. We had a mutual friend who introduced us, and instantly I recognized that James is not your average guy. Incredibly talented and brilliant. And so we stayed in that business together for a little while, and both of us were doing different things, had different businesses. And then about 4 years ago, we both, came back into financial services. I'd been in the industry before and had gotten out of it for a few years to care for our special needs daughter. So, yes, it's been about 4.5 years now. We both ended up back in this space, and then we're working, independent of each other, but in the same realm. And then I guess about 2.5 years ago is when we blended our practices together. So we've known each other for about 8 years and
Wow.
been business partners officially for about 2.5 years now.
That's awesome. So now I'm gonna hold that thought, because now Renee Parris, I want to hear about you and how you got to where you are, like at this very moment, being partners with James. But let's go back in time a little bit and tell me a little bit about you and what made you who you are today, which is absolutely wonderful, by the way.
Thank you. So I grew up in a very small town, which you happen to know well.
Yes.
And in the, coal mining region of southeastern Kentucky. So very, very poor community, but just salt of the earth, amazing people, beautiful mountains. It's God's country, right?
Yes.
But my great-grandfather on my dad's side actually owned a coal mining company. And then on my mom's side, my grandfather, all my uncles, a lot of my cousins all worked in the coal mining industry. So that's kind of where I grew up. But before that, my dad left that area after he got out of high school and moved away for a few years, because if you didn't work in the coal mines, there was really not a lot of opportunity there. So he moved my mom and my 2 older siblings to Indianapolis, which is where I was actually born. And while I was there until I was 7, and my dad worked as a insurance salesman for Life of Virginia.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so he was in the insurance industry when I was a little girl. And then when I was 7, we moved back to Kentucky, and I spent the rest of my childhood and teenage years there. So my first job out of school was working for an insurance company, but it was not selling insurance, it was managing. It was a third-party administrator, so we managed the life insurance for doctors, dentists, lawyers, and the Zionist organization. So we had doctors, dentists, lawyers, and Jewish people as our clients. So very diverse group, but there I kind of went into corporate America for a little while. Realized I'm a much better entrepreneur than I am an employee. So, and then then I got, well, I mean, I come from a long line of entrepreneurs, so it's all I had ever really known, and it was modeled for me. I was 13, my dad gave me a book by Zig Ziglar called See You at the Top. And that was my my 8th grade, my 8th grade graduation / 13th birthday present. So my dad is very, very wise, very quiet man, full of one-liners and wisdom, and really early on introduced us to the concept of personal development and reading and learning from people wiser than you are. Mm-hmm. So I grew up in that environment as well, and learned, to train your mind and keep your thoughts focused. So anyway, we ended up, my husband and I moved to Chicago for about 15 years and lived there, and our daughter was born there. She has a lot of special needs, so I came out of the workforce for a while just to be a mom. Mm-hmm. And then when I went back to work, I realized, I've got to do something that gives me flexibility and freedom to take care of her and homeschool our son. And that's why I ended up back in the financial services industry. It was something I already knew and liked, and it's the ability to help a lot of people, which I'm pretty passionate about. Right. So that's kind of my story. As far as my family, I come from a large family, 3 brothers, 3 sisters.
Wow.
So grew up in a big family, which is fun to go back home to. Everybody's still there except me and one other brother. Everybody else stayed in that area. Mm-hmm. So here we are all these years later. So like James, similar story, lots of business opportunities along the way that, kind of culminated in where we are today and doing what we do together.
That is so wonderful. So what I want everybody to know is Renee and I were talking one time and said Hazard, Kentucky. I'm naming it. And I said, no way, no way. And then I said, my parents live in Vest. And actually, my mom is from Dwarf. And that's when it was, what? Because Dwarf, Kentucky is like, what, population?
I don't know. Like, probably less than 100. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, it's like one road. I mean, it's like, there it is. And that's where my mom was born. My papa probably worked for your great-grandpa's coal mining company. Who knows, right?
Yeah, possibly.
So the same, coal miner's daughter situation. I grew up here in Minneapolis, though, but, I mean, knowing that the closeness, excuse me, it was just like an instant, like, we both have been there on that road. And somehow we got brought together for some reason. And when you talk about making a difference, doing things for the good of people, I felt that when I talked to both of you. So here we are today. So Forecast Financial Group. Now, doing what you do, what would you say is your company's greatest strength?
James, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, one of the biggest things that we try to work on is to help clients avoid. I like to make reference to 3 Ds. Avoid risk, fees, and taxes in retirement, right? So the goal is never to get to retirement. People always talk about getting to retirement, but the real goal is to get through retirement.
Right.
So our functionality and our main goal is to help people understand that the bigger part of getting through retirement is understanding how to mitigate taxes, fees, and risks. Mm-hmm. And if you can't mitigate those up to retirement, you'll never get through retirement. So that's kind of our main focus, right? So
that's a good F word, focus. So how are you getting the word out? What are you doing?
Well, we do all kinds of different marketing efforts, of course. We've been doing it a while now, and so you've got your client base that sends referrals as well. But for us, we kind of changed our platform a year or so ago and really went into pure education. And we felt like it was important to educate people, and so we do a lot of seminars, a lot of talks, a lot of webinars. Because we feel like it's not that there's not information out there. I mean, we live in information overload as a society, but it's getting the right information and kind of weeding through all of what's out there and helping people understand, empowering them to sort of take control of the decisions they make with their retirement assets instead of turning them over to other people.
Right.
So, because of our educational nature, we tend to do a lot of events at libraries and dinner seminars and just anywhere we can gather people to present them with information. Then they lead themselves to a decision. We're not high pressured salespeople. We're educators and coaches and mentors, and just as a byproduct, we gain a lot of clients through that process.
That's great. I mean, seriously. So when you're talking that, I mean, you've only been doing this together as Forecast Financial Group years?
About 2.5 years together.
Yeah.
Makes it, yeah.
Now, do you have agents beneath you? I mean, do you have an agency? What's your whole process look like? Your business model? That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, we are a general agency, so we have about 8 other agents that work with us kind of all across the country. And each of them has their own strengths and areas of focus. And, we obviously focus a great deal of our time and effort on retirees and people, 5 to 7 years outside of retirement. And another huge focus for us is consulting with business owners and educating them not only on their own retirement plans or structuring things for their employees, but also just on business growth in general. So we have a team of people, and depending on, what their strength and skill set is, try to put them in a lane where they could be successful and help a lot of people.
Okay.
James might want to piggyback on that as well.
Yes, James.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
Yes, so we're just talking about our agency, James, and how we're set up and our other agents. We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, I'll listen to you guys. I just kind of just thinking about the workshop tonight. I was wondering how many people could transform their lives by just getting different information. So the agency in itself is just, it's laid out in a way where education is the base of what we do.
Okay.
If you don't educate people, because I always tell people, I say, look, I'm trying to drive everybody to a position of change. And if you're not willing to change, then there's no educational platform that can help you, right?
Right.
So by going to an educational model, our agency, we have to know that the people coming to us have to be willing to change. If they're not, it doesn't really work for us. It doesn't work for them.
Well, and this
That's how
I was to say this would be both for the agents that are in your agency as well as your clients, correct?
Absolutely. It's change for everybody, right?
Right.
So it's a different model, it's a different process, it's a different way of doing business. Most people are accustomed to somebody coming in, high pressure selling them, forcing them into a decision, pushing them into a decision. Actually, we had a conversation with a lady tonight, or Renee had a conversation with her, and the lady was like, she felt like she was pressured into a decision that she made before she came to our workshop.
Wow.
That's not a good model.
Mm-mm.
You need to be educated into a decision. So our whole model now is to educate, inform. Now that you're an informed buyer, you'll be able to make a better, intelligent decision. That's our whole model.
That's wonderful. So then the agents that you bring in, Forecast Financial Group, I mean, they have the same values. How do you, because I want people to know that wherever you have agents, I mean, they're able to go and get the same quality level of education that the two of you give. So do you do a specific kind of training, or do you vet them and make sure they're a certain kind of people? I mean, what kind of people are you drawn towards to work with you? Because guess what? I know a lot of agents too. So there might be people that I want to send over to you if I think that they're a good fit.
The one thing we try to do is, I'm old fashioned. I still do boots on the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
I still see my guys face to face. I still go work with them. In fact, got an event Thursday. I'm going to fly out to work with an agent. I think once you create a relationship, understand what their goals are, what their needs are, what their desires are, and grit on the ground, and then you can kind of figure out if you're a real fit. You can start anybody in a job, but you don't know if you're a real fit until you kind of have some experience with some counter reactions, some actions, some negative things happen, trouble happens, some situations happen. Then you really know a person. So we still old fashioned. We get on the ground with our guys, show them how to present, show them what to say, what not to say,
Mm-hmm.
how to close, how the product works for the client. Always do the right thing for the client. So we constantly have those conversations. We constantly on the phone with a client, and he say, "Hey, I'm thinking about making this decision for this client." Well, I say, "Is that the best decision for the client, or the best decision for you?"
Right.
And so we constantly revisiting these things. I think it evolves over time. You never know if a relationship's going to work out until the time plays. You know, one of my favorite sayings is "Time tells everything."
Right, it does.
It's just a process of time.
Mm-hmm. Well, and people reveal themselves over time, hopefully over a shorter amount of time, because we've all been involved with people in longer periods of time, and they reveal themselves and go, "Oh, I wish I would have known earlier." But I think in presenting in itself, I know just from my experience, traveling all over the hour-long workshops every day. It takes a special person to be able to get up and be a public speaker. And it doesn't matter if it's 5 people or 500, having that comfort level, knowing the presentation. That is always, to me, the number one thing. They can watch you do it, but if you watch them and then they do it after you, and they just, how do you determine? Do you watch them present to go, have you ever had anybody just be like so horrible? I've seen it, so trust me.
We've sat with some and thought, whoa, we gotta do a little bit of work after
Let
this is
me
over.
step in and take over. That's a really good question, Mr. Client. Here, do you mind if I take over for a second? Take over the rest of the seminar? I can see it. Hey, listen, my first presentation with the company I was with, one of the biggest life insurance carriers in the country, actually 4th largest in the world, my first one out on the road, what I hadn't practiced was questions. And I didn't have control. So my guy, my trainer, let me know that I was taking too much time answering everybody's questions. So he ended up taking over so that I could see how it was. And, but it is. You don't know until you're actually up there doing it. So if you were to find, and I'm doing this, it's kind of twofold. I'm always a little bit strategic, but what is your ideal agent? As like I said, I know some that listen to this, that are looking for opportunities. Tell me like the profile of who you would like to work with you ideally.
And you want to take that question, James, or you want me to?
You got it.
So I think a couple of things. You know, there's a big debate in the industry. Is it better to take somebody who's new to the industry and you train them on, you know, the products, the presentations, sales in general, or is it better to take an agent who's already been working and just, you know, transition them into your practice? And I don't really know that I have a strong opinion on that. I think what we're really looking for is people who are extremely motivated to educate and not to sell.
Mm-hmm.
That is a huge differentiator for us. We want people who are willing to provide people with education and to serve. Anybody can sell, but to serve and to give information, even when it might not end in a transaction, that's powerful. You're making an impact on people's lives. And then somebody who's just always willing to do what's best for the client and not for themselves. And that, you know, like James said, you only really know that once you see them in action.
Right.
But we're very open and honest and upfront in those conversations, and we always say the deal breakers for us are greed and doing anything that's not in putting our client in a position that's less than their best interest. Those are deal breakers for us. So we don't have a lot of tolerance for either of those two things. But if somebody's willing to come in and learn, you know, the fear of public speaking is one of the strongest fears for most people.
Oh, right.
But if you are passionate about what you do and you see it as a purpose and you know your material, you can overcome that fear and you get better in time.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we can work with somebody if they're not a great presenter. We can fix that. What we can't fix is integrity and character issues.
No, exactly.
And so that's not something you retrain on.
Well, something that I've done in the past, and I know you both do, is I've presented for advisors that have the integrity, have, you know, that part of it, but they just lack the skill. Because some people just, it's such a huge fear, but they're excellent advisors. So one thing I think that you guys do, and that we should make more available, is like a board of speakers to go out and speak for the agents. Give them, like, for example, one of the ones that I used to do was I would come in as like the industry expert, so to say. I'm not the one that's going to sit down and try to sell them anything. I'm telling them the story and I'm painting the picture and giving them the reason why they want to sit with the agent. Okay? And then, you know, have that agent there, have him building the relationship. But then that's something I think maybe will, when you shake the tree a little bit, you might, as far as getting some more people across the country. I mean, if we've got some things that, you know, we do really well at, and they're really good at sitting down and writing the business. What do you think?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And that is part of our model, which again is what James will be putting that into action again on Thursday. So we have sometimes we'll work with an agent and they just need to see us do it numerous times before their comfort level is there. And then sometimes they're, to your point, they're just never really going to be in the public speaking comfort zone. So we go in and do the workshop for them, and then they're there with us. They're serving, they're doing the registration table or setting the appointments or whatever, and the clients get to know who they are, and we build everything we do as a team. There's not one superstar in the room. We are a team working to serve you. So somebody might be presenting, somebody else might be doing a follow-up phone call, and somebody else might be doing the physical sitting across the desk from you conversation.
Right.
But, you know, you're getting the whole Forecast Financial team. And when you do it that way, the clients understand they're getting more than just one person, and the agent feels comfortable doing whatever their skill set is. And they're not excluded from the opportunity because they're not a superstar in every area.
And I think in the end, ultimately what's most important is the client has the best experience. So they
Exactly.
doing it in a way where they're not feeling pressured in a seminar, They're not feeling pressured to set that appointment. I mean, it's all just a natural result of the education. Now, speaking of education, we've got about 15 minutes, and here's what I want to have happen. You had a presentation. What would mean the world to me is if you share some of that content, what you talk about, what you did tonight with our audience, and then we're going to have them be able to contact you afterwards to learn more and actually more of the presentation, maybe over the phone or by a webinar even. But so you had a dinner seminar tonight. Maybe if you do a webinar, maybe you can send out some, what was tonight's topic about? Where did you go? What did you do?
Just the same kind of spin on what we always talk about in general. We like to call it the three T's, right? Risk, fees, and taxes. The difference tonight was we was teaching the people on a certain product type, right? So a lot of people buy certain products and put it inside their portfolio. And a lot of retirees have this product in their portfolio. And the product type was an annuity. But what we was focusing on tonight is how a 1% really means 21%, and what that really means. And a 1% fee, what that means to your retirement portfolio over time. So we was teaching individuals that although you can go out and purchase these annuities, which is a great product, by the way, is being in the right type of annuity. Mm-hmm. The type of annuity that doesn't have fees, unlimited caps, no riders that you have to pay for. And there's a benefit of being in the right type of product. Because I asked the people tonight, I said, hey, what type of cell phone did you have in 1990? And everybody bagged from all types of answers.
Yeah, I don't think I even had one.
I know I didn't. I just graduated high school. I couldn't afford one.
Yep.
And then what type of cell phone you have today? Well, there's two different types of cell phone. Same functionality. Well, it's just the same way with products. It's the same way with retirement products. You can have the same product that someone purchased today that someone bought 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. Exact same type of product, but the functionality is different because times have changed. So these products are better today than they were yesterday. They're better today than they were 3 years ago.
Right.
And so we was trying to drive the point home on how you have to minimize those fees and understand those fees, not only on your annuity account, but on your retirement portfolio in general. You have to know your fees, and you have to know what the fees really do to your account. So I'll let Renee talk about the rest.
Right.
Yeah, so speaking of fees, one of the things we always encourage people to find out is what are your true and total fees. So everybody, assumes they know what their fees are, and they think they're paying their broker, whatever it is, or they think they know what the fees are inside their 401k, but they only know for the most part, what the money manager is making. They're not aware of their true and total fees. So we will always tell them, write these questions down. Make sure you know what your true and total fees are. And if you're okay with what they are, then that's great, but at least know. And then the second part is risk, right? How much risk should you have in your portfolio? And that changes over time. Mm-hmm. If you're 20 and 30 and you're in the accumulation phase and you've got time on your side, then you can tolerate a little more risk. But once you get, close to the top of that retirement mountain, you have to go into preservation mode. You have to be a little more safe with your choices.
Right.
It doesn't mean you don't want growth, because every dollar needs to be working at all times. Mm-hmm. But you just mitigate the risk, and you can do that. Most people are not aware of how risk mitigation really works. They think of safety as annuities, and they are extremely safe. But there's other ways in traditional stock and investment accounts to mitigate risk as well that most people are not aware of. So we educate them on that, and then how to minimize taxes. Love him, hate him, like him, respect him or not.
Right.
President Trump made some significant changes to our tax system, and so we teach people how to take advantage of that, how to understand how their taxes are going to be different this year than they were before. So it's all based on education, but tonight's workshop was really interesting. Just the it was a full room, very full room. It was a dinner seminar, and so James did a great job of delivering the content. And a lot of people are just, hungry for the right information. And as he mentioned earlier, we had a conversation afterwards with a lady who just was kind of pressured into purchasing a product that may end up being exactly what she needs, but she asked us to take a look at it and just make sure, because she felt comfortable with the presentation and felt like we would give her objective, good advice.
Right.
So that's always, it's always nice when people feel like the education is, they find value in it. So whatever the topic is, we at Forecast, I think what sets us apart is we're very holistic.
Mm-hmm.
We're an independent boutique firm on purpose. So we're going to give people a financial menu and find the pieces of the puzzle that fit for them. And we don't try to put everybody in the same strategy. There's just no wisdom there.
Mm-hmm.
So holistically, we talk about a bunch of different topics. We have seminars on, several different niches, but at the end of the day, it's all what makes the most sense for the client. So tonight was very annuity focused. The room was filled with people who already either had owned annuities or understood them, but the conversation next week might be taxes and retirement, or is your portfolio set up for legacy planning. So whatever we do, it's always educational based, and just making sure that the clients get as much information so that they put themselves in the position to be more informed and more in control of their decisions.
So that's awesome. So what can so let's just pretend now. Let me ask: was it a nice restaurant?
Yeah, it was a Logan Steakhouse.
Nice. So they had steak or fish,
steak, chicken, ribs. Yeah, they
nice.
had 5 entree choices. Yeah.
Very nice. So they're there. They're having their dinner. I mean, do you feel like with the dinner seminars, people feel a little bit more inclined that they feel like they have to set up a meeting with you, or do you feel that they're actually like, okay, yep, this I gotta do? I mean, I've asked people of this before because sometimes people feel obligated. How do you feel after tonight's presentation?
Well, we've done them before, so
right.
It's not our first rodeo.
Right.
I don't know. Well, I think it depends on the presenter too, right?
Yep.
I think it goes down to the guy or the girl that's in front of the room. And so my presentation is probably different than any other advisor out there. I'm giving the people a reason not to book an appointment, right? I don't want to sit down with you by obligation.
Right.
I want to sit down with you based on what you heard, and if there's any value in what you heard, that could probably help you or put you in a better position. So I don't know if we run into that a lot.
That's good. That's good. Because I've had people tell me, they're like, yeah, they set the appointment with me, but they didn't even have anything. But I think it was because they just felt like they needed to because I bought their dinner. So no, that speaks volumes. You're giving the right message.
Yeah, I agree with James. I don't think we've run into that at all. And
That's
I think
good.
when people do book an appointment, they typically keep them. Sometimes they'll have to reschedule, something comes up, but we rarely have people set appointments that don't keep them, because I think they're interested enough in what they heard and getting their questions answered. And we're our seminars are probably very different than most people. We're very laid back and casual and like to laugh a lot and like to engage our audience. So it's more of an experience, I think. It's not like we're the experts in the front of the room and it's, us, way up here and then they're down there. It's not that at all. It's very, it's an experience. They leave feeling like they got some value. They had a good time. It was time well spent. And they, if they feel like we can help them or put them in a better position, they book an appointment. If not, then they don't, and there's no pressure at all either way.
And so I was at your dinner seminar. The steak was delicious, by the way. I have 3 different annuities my ex-husband put us into without talking to me, how that happened, but I don't know what I have. What can I expect? What do I need to bring to a meeting with you? What can my my outlook be when I want to sit down? First meeting.
One of the unique things that we do, that's probably most advisors don't do, is before we ever sit down face to face with a client, we have a 15, 20-minute talk.
Okay.
I know it's, most advisors, if any advisors on this phone probably saying, man, on the radio, this and this, and man, that's an added step. But for us, it has proven to be extremely valuable. We had that 15-minute talk, 10, 15-minute talk. And in our world as advisors, it comes out to be a discovery, right?
Right.
And we're trying to, for me, it has to be a fit. Right? I'm an old school sales guy, so I've been through the sales training sales system. If that client don't like me or trust me, there's no need to bring them into my office.
Right.
And then if I can't truly add value to their position, there's no need of me bringing them into my office. So what we try to discover in a 10-15-minute call is, number one, do you buy my philosophy? Right? Now, we have a philosophy on retirement planning. Mm-hmm. And in our philosophy, we kind of explain that in the first 10, 15 minutes by
and you
asking
guys,
a series of questions.
Philosophy is not an F word, but it sounds like one. Just pointing that out, everyone. Okay, go ahead.
So we try to have that conversation in a way where, look, this is what we do, and do you have any need in this window? If you don't have any need in that window, we're not a fix-it shop, right?
Right.
We do what we do, and that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And so we try to add that step before we actually meet a client, because at that point we know what the client needs, what the client's interested in, based on what they heard.
Okay.
And it may be a situation where we just can't help them.
Well, yeah. What I like, but James, what you said, seriously, if they don't trust me, I don't want to sit down with them. You'll know it. Definitely, because so many people just sit down with you to get the information and go to somebody else, and that's a waste of your time. But they do, because they want to hear what you have to say, but they don't trust you enough to. Oh, that's good. So you have the 15-minute conversation. Now I'm headed to sit down with you, Renee. What do I expect?
So when you come in and meet with us, we're going to ask you, if you're comfortable at that first meeting, bring your statements, bring your policies, bring what you have, so we can really see what we're talking about.
Okay.
And then we'll give you our objective opinion about whether it's still an appropriate, product for what your situation is now, because needs change over time. Lives change, people get divorced or widowed or find themselves in different income brackets. And so there's a lot of reasons why you just need to periodically let somebody take an objective look at what you have anyway.
Right.
We offer that as a free consultation. Bring us what you have, let us take a look, and we'll let you know if and how we feel like we can benefit you. And then if you're willing to embrace the change and make the change, then we'd love to have you, gain you as a client. But in that first meeting, it's going to be about, typically 45 minutes or so, just getting to know them and looking at what they have. And then we never try to sell anything at the first meeting. We always tell them, even if you want to, we're not offering anything. We're going to take it back to our team. We're going to talk about it, put together some strategies for you to consider, and then move forward from there.
And make the right. Perfect.
Right.
So tell me, people go on your website, are they able to find different workshops that you are doing in the areas? Are they able to go online and find stuff?
They can definitely go to our website, which is forecastfinancialgroup.com. Websites have changed so much over the years. Now it's more like a brochure, basically, of how to find us. But if somebody's interested in learning, where our workshops are or what we have in their area, if we have an agent in their area, the best thing to do would be to send us an email or pick up the phone and call us and let us talk to them and figure out what they need and where we're going to be and connect that way. So there is a contact us button on the website, or they can just, email us directly. Both of us, it's just James at forecastfinancialgroup.com or Renee at forecastfinancialgroup.com.
And then the phone number they can call?
They can call our 800 number, which is 800-678-2045. Or, I mean, I'm fine. I just give out my cell phone number to anybody. So mine is 919-923-1717.
Okay.
And if they go to the 800 number, then they can, choose one extension is for James, the other's for me, or then there's just a general voicemail box as well.
Okay. No, I think that's great. I mean, and some great information. I mean, finding out what you have. I mean, so many people, I've been in the industry since 99, so since I was 12, but when people don't know what they have, I mean, and I've heard it over and over again, and that's why our industry, so many people, the suitability is so strong now. You have to make sure that, they're in the right product, and it's because of the things that were sold in the past that we have the suitability issues that we have now. So going back, people, go back, get your annuities out, call Forecast Financial Group, go to forecastfinancialgroup.com. James Hamilton, Renee Parris, both of you, I want to thank you so much for being on tonight. And make sure you guys check your own financial fitness future. Get rid of the fees. Feel fabulous. How's that for some F words ended up? And thank you, James. Thank you, Renee. I will be talking to you again very soon. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for having us.